All right, everybody, we're about to get started with Tony Talks episode 12. I had my friend Marcello on the show today. Second time somebody has joined us via Skype. Audio was a little bit better than last time. Sometimes Skype, though, just cuts in and out, but it was a good conversation. Also, Marcello sent us an audio clip of him playing guitar. That's going to be on all the way at the end of the show after the outro. So if you want to listen to that, you could skip ahead or just wait till after the outro to give it a listen. Very good guitar player. I wish I asked him more about that now after hearing that, because obviously he's been doing it for a while because it sounds really good. Also, I forgot to mention this on the show, at Tony Talks 8 on Instagram and on Twitter, and TonyTalks8podcast@gmail.com if you want to send in anything. All right, gonna let the intro roll, and thanks for listening.
Welcome to Tony Talks. We're here again live. We made it to the Dirty Dozen. Actually, Dirty Dozen is 13, so this is just like a regular dozen. It was a Baker Dozen 13. I don't know, Marcello, you know anything about that?
Baker Dozen 13? No, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, this is just this is the dozenth episode right now. This is the 12th, and I'm joined by my good buddy Marcello Sabella, calling in via Skype all the way from Staten Island, New York, right in the middle of the epicenter where all this Corona shit is happening. Marcello, how's it going today?
Everything's good, man. How are you? I'm doing good. How you doing?
You're doing good. So you're surviving out there and everything. No, you don't have a cough or anything. You're able to be.
I'm out here, man. I'm just taking precautions. I'm wearing my mask when I go out. Try to stay in the house as much as possible. I've been eating at home, cooking a lot of food at home.
Yeah, I
took off work. I got on lists.
You're always posting some food on there.
I also took off work for 2 weeks. I took off work for 2 weeks just now, and I'm going back to return on Saturday, actually.
Oh, okay. So they got you going back on Saturday. And so they're saying New York may have peaked like the last couple of days or so because the cases and deaths and everything fortunately started to go on the decline. So you could be returning to work at like the right time where,
Yeah, well, I actually seeing on the news today, it looks like they're having less and less people having to be admitted to the hospital, which is good. I think that's a direct result of the stuff that they put in place with the social distancing and just encouraging everybody to stay in the house, So
when you go out,
what's that?
When you go out over there, because I know how it is over here in Texas. I see people that are like around Walmart, no gloves, no mask or anything. When you're in Staten Island and you go to the store, you said you wear a mask. Did you say gloves?
I wear gloves and I wear everything. I wear a mask and gloves.
Do you see others doing the same thing, or is it like a free fall still?
It's looking, honestly, right now, it's looking like the majority of people doing it. Most people are doing it now, it looks like, when I go out to the store, which I think is good. It's definitely something that could definitely help reduce the spread of the virus.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that's good. I'm glad people, I think, weren't taking it seriously, and then the numbers started going up, and they started taking it seriously, and now we're starting to see the results of people actually listening to what we're supposed to.
Yeah,
but I want to get into, because this past weekend was Wrestlemania weekend, and it was like the first sporting event in like forever. It feels like, and I watched it. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but I know you're an old school wrestling fan like myself from the late 1990s and shit. And in honor of WrestleMania, I do like a top 5 at the start of every episode. I want to do top 5 wrestlers.
Okay.
So I got a top 5.
I definitely have a top 5. It's going to be off the top of my head. It's going to be off the top of my head, but I could definitely give you a top 5. Sure.
Yeah, that's fine, bro.
Yeah.
So this is I'll give you mine.
Like from 1 to 5 or from 5 to 1? How do you want?
You can do whatever you want. I'm gonna do a countdown from 5 to 1.
It's easier. Okay, because it's off the top of my head. It's easier for me to think of it through like my favorite to the 5th favorite. So.
Okay, so you want to go first? You got somebody in mind?
Well, no, you could tell me yours.
All right, so
I'll let you know what I think.
So first off, I got 3 honorable mentions that didn't make the top 5.
Okay.
So I got Chris Jericho, honorable mention, just because this is my thing, because there's probably some wrestling nerds out there that'll be like, well, this guy, he wasn't as technical. Listen, this is who I like to watch. This is who I think. This is my list. This one. So I got Chris Jericho, because when he was in WCW, they kind of underused him, and when he went to the WWF, they like showed how much talent this guy has, and he's been in like every organization. It feels like I think he's in the AEW now, the new one. He's still awesome. He's got so much charisma, and he's a little guy too. So for him to be like passable as being that good is pretty dope. Then I got Mick Foley, honorable mention, because he just, for as athletically non-gifted as he was, he made the most of what he was able to do for himself with wrestling.
Wow, you don't find Mick Foley in the top 5, really? Wow.
He's not in the top 5, but I had to give him an honorable mention.
Okay, all right.
I know. I think he's going to be in your top 5 though.
He is, yeah.
And then the last one, this guy, I don't think he ever gets enough love, but he's been around forever. I think he just retired recently. The Big Show.
Okay.
Because he was around.
So these are your honorable mentions, right?
These are my honorable mentions. But now I got this is the 5.
Okay.
Coming in at number 5. And I'm a WCW guy from the 90s, so it's going to be a little bit biased towards them. But to start things off and go with Sting. Sting was around fucking forever. Technical wrestler. When he spoke well. And when he didn't speak, he was mysterious and he was kind of like spooky and shit. So he has like a good character. All right, number 4. You're probably gonna have this guy higher on your list. I think this is gonna be the number 1 guy on your list, but it's Stone Cold.
Okay.
Because I was a WCW guy, but when you watch the old WWF clips, you see he had Vince McMahon swimming in beer and shit like that.
Yeah.
Pretty hilarious. Number 3, I got The Rock. This was close between The Rock and Stone Cold, but I gave The Rock the edge. Just because, I don't know, his longevity, what he's been able to transcend and all that shit since coming out of wrestling. And I think everybody knows the eyebrow, everybody knows you jabroni, and The Rock made all that shit popular. Not that Stone Cold doesn't have his fair share of fucking slogans. All right, number 2. We got 2 left. Diamond Dallas Page. Because he started late. He made the most. He was another guy who reminds me of like Jericho, but he made the most of what he was able to have.
Well, I remember when we were kids, I think DDP was actually your favorite, right? Was he your favorite wrestler?
It was DDP, and it was the guy that was number 1 on my list.
Okay.
Which you probably know who my number 1 guy is.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I thought it was DDP. I just remember like pressing DDP.
Yeah, the diamond. Oh, you remember? Because I used to do up on my birthday.
Yeah, I used to do a diamond cutter like this.
But number 1 is Goldberg.
Okay. Yeah, Goldberg is one of the best. Sure. He's up there too. Sure.
Just because he's so intense and he was just such a monster.
Yeah. He was unbeatable. He had like the longest record in the WCW, right?
Yeah, he was 173 and 0.
173 and 0. I remember that whole run. I remember that growing up.
That was like when wrestling. It'll never be like that again.
Well, no, because at that point they had all the best characters. You know, they could never redo what they did during that time period. You know,
and it was cool. I remember like coming to school and we'd like talk who was watching WWF, who was watching WCW, and then like we'd argue about who was better and who would win between Stone Cold and Goldberg.
Both of them. I really enjoyed both of them. I like Goldberg, but then again, I also like seeing Stone Cold and WWE and everything. ECW, I was a big ECW fan too. So it was just so crazy. It was just so hardcore. and that shit was cool to watch. You know, it was definitely cool, very cool to watch. I used to watch it all the time on I think it was on TNT, I believe, right? It was on TNT.
WCW was on TNT. I don't know about ECW.
Oh no, ECW was on the USA Network or some one of them. I forget which one. I don't know. I forget. I used to watch it a lot.
Yeah, ECW was.
I like how they used to fight in the crowd, and the guy.
Yeah, they were crazy.
They would jump from the turnbuckle onto the fans. That stuff was cool, you know.
Yeah, that shit. They don't get away with that anymore.
Yeah. So you want to hear my top 5 wrestlers off the top of my head?
Let's hear it.
All right. I think Mick Foley he's my number one. He's the greatest wrestler of all time.
Oh shit! I had him on honorable mention. At least I gave him honorable mention.
Because I just feel that out of any wrestler, you know, he took the biggest beating for the fans, and just the stunts that he pulled and everything else. I don't know. I just feel like he had the most passion for it out of any wrestler in the whole business for putting himself through.
Passion's a good word.
For all the pain that he put himself through for the fans, like it can't be matched, you know. So I mean, that's why he's my number one. I don't know. Somebody's always had a lot of respect for him as a wrestler, and so 2 off the top of my head, I'd say Stone Cold would be number 2 because he was just a total rebel to the WWF, you know. Just his whole persona and the rivalry with Vince McMahon throughout the WWF and stuff.
Yeah, Stone Cold.
Number 3, yeah.
So you got number 3.
Number 3 would be Bill Goldberg.
There you go.
Because Goldberg, like you said before, he was just an animal, you know. He would just come in and annihilate. I believe even during a Royal Rumble, he would just abuse the whole Royal Rumble, and nobody would want to mess with him. He'd be spearing everybody, right? So
yeah, just sick.
4th favorite wrestler. Those 3 are my top favorite. So I'd say number 4 would be probably Rob Van Dam during the ECW when I watched it, because I just thought ECW was just really entertaining. You know, it was like it's not some way that I want to live my life. You know, but it was just so ruthless. Like it was just ruthless to watch. You know, it was entertaining to watch. Like Rob Van Dam, you know, when he would do the flip into the crowd onto all the fans and stuff. I thought that was really cool. You know, how they fought in the crowd and stuff like that. It was just so different. And I don't know. That's one of the reasons I really liked watching ECW. And I like the Sandman too, because he'd come out. He'd come out with his candlestick, and it was just all part of it. You know, it was hardcore. Like they would fight in the crowd, and he'd come out to Enter Sandman, which is one of my favorite metal songs from Metallica. And that's my top 5, I'd say.
They had
Mick Foley always got the most respect for me. Even growing up, I always liked Mick Foley as a wrestler. He was always one of my favorite wrestlers.
So, like, if you had to tie the top 4, it would be Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mankind. I know. I'm just kidding.
That's a good point. Though. But no, it's just Mick Foley as the person, you know, as the wrestler, you know.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I know. That was just because he had all this different. He was in all 3 too. I think he was in ECW too at some point.
He started out in ECW, I believe, or Japanese wrestling. He used to do crazy like Japanese death matches with the fire. They set the ring on fire and all that stuff.
Of course he did. So
to me, I kind of feel like the bigger beating you take for the sport shows how much you truly care about entertaining the fans, you know? Because they got a lot of these wrestlers that, they're all juiced up and they look the part, but you don't see it's more like they're not as dedicated. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Like
one of the
what I
most
mean by that?
yeah, one of the most replayed highlights in wrestling history is probably when the Undertaker threw him off the Hell in the Cell, just
That's
completely, and he
that match goes down in history. Yeah, that goes down in history as I think one of the best matches of all time. He threw him right through the Hell in the Cell. No. First, he threw him off the Hell in the Cell through the announcer table. Then they went back up. They put him on the stretcher thing, and then he got back up. Remember? And then they choke slammed him right through it after. That's what he did.
I don't those fucking they don't they don't although they surprise you sometimes. They'll do some cool shit, but Mick Foley was the first one to really just say, "What do we got to do?" Like he would have done anything.
Yeah.
So other than that, how's your day to day been and everything? Just are you stocked up on supplies and all that now?
Yeah, I stocked up when I first when the panic started setting in. I stocked up on a lot of food, and I've been going out periodically here and there, going to the store. It's not like what people first expected. I feel like a lot of people expected that we're gonna be on a drought for food, and we're never gonna be able to go to the store again, and this and that. And then that's right though. The people are smart because they're taking precautions, but. There's still stores. Stores are stocking shelves, so there's plenty of food to go around for everybody, I believe. You know?
Yeah, of course. That was really the real fear how much worse it could have gotten, and that's why I think everybody bought all the toilet paper and all that shit. But as long as there's still enough for everybody.
Yeah.
What do you do? You have do you have canned foods? Do you have long term stuff, or do you have
Well, yeah. Well, I bought when I first went out. I bought a ton of frozen pizza, Jamaican patties, friggin' all types of stuff.
Essentials.
I felt like I gotta buy enough food to shelter me in for months at a time in case they lock us down totally. But
yeah.
I also got, I also went and bought steaks and stuff, chicken, stuff like that.
Okay, so you got a variety of shit to keep you satisfied every day.
Yeah, basically.
And you know what I want to talk to you, and this you reminded me of this while we were talking about wrestling. I don't know how, but you remember when our buddy, I'm not gonna say his name because I don't know if he wants, but his dad used to take us on his truck. And we used to go. We used to go falling down. I
slide over the hill.
Roma, right?
Yeah.
Was that it?
The pickup truck, right?
Yeah, the pickup truck.
I remember.
I saw him randomly when I was working in Florida.
Yeah, he moved to Florida. Actually moved there. Yeah.
And I was at a restaurant and I saw him, and he came up to me and he was like, "Is your name Anthony?" And I was like, "Who?" I was like, and I looked at, I was like, "He looks." Is this? I was like, and then I was like, "Oh shit!" We just started bullshit. It was pretty funny. But we talk about wrestling and stuff.
I seen him. Yeah, he moved to Florida. I think he came back. He comes back and forth from time to time. I see him once in a while. Every once in a while, I see him.
Yeah, that's awesome. I thought that was because we were talking about. I was talking to him about wrestling too, because he was pissed off because Stone Cold came back on 316 Day, and he was like, "If you want to do this, give me a hell yeah." And there was nobody in the crowd because they're doing it in front of an empty crowd, which is awkward.
Oh yeah.
So you said, when we were talking about doing this, you mentioned something about Corona politics.
Corona, no, I talk about what's going on with the Corona and also talk about politics, political stuff. What I mean by I just want their handle, how they're handling it. I think they're doing a lot of the right things, but and stay in the house and this and that. But we also see that there's a lot of people dying, a lot of people getting sick, and I believe that the right way to handle this would be for there to be a stay-at-home order, like to really, really reduce the spread of the virus and to eliminate the virus as a society, people got to stay in the house, and
Right.
that's what I think. It's not worth, even though a lot of these people are older that are dying. We see it's also young people that are passing away from it, but it's still a human life, right? So I think you really got to stay inside. And I don't know if the politicians put that in place, but I think that's the truth,
Yeah, and I think because things are starting to subside a little bit, it shows that what they were doing is working now. Now you're starting to see a little bit of the results, but I think what's important is you don't get too comfortable and then it starts kicking up again.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, a lot of people getting comfortable, that's true. Because if people get too comfortable, they think they could be out and they could still behave in a way like it's not going on and everything. But for the most part, I think they're handling it well. But I believe, if you really want to save lives and stuff like that, people could be locked down a little more. I think, that's just my opinion. But people they don't want the government telling them what to do and stuff. I can see that too. But
yeah, that's a
situation. It's more or less people got to do the right thing so people stay in good health. So.
Right. Yeah, you got to sacrifice in the short term to have society back to normal in the long term.
Exactly. Yep.
Did they keep like they talk about these essential employees, but then you hear about people that are. When I think of essential employees, I think about like firefighters, police officers, anybody that keeps the logistics lines running. But they're like there's people that are trying to pass off like every profession as like essential employees. And I think that's another problem.
Yeah, dude, I agree with that totally. There's a ton of businesses open right now that I don't think should be open at this point. You could unless it's like a pharmacy or a supermarket or somewhere that people can eat. But you're right. First responders are also essential employees. But I think that should be it. I don't think, and I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. There's a lot of businesses that are open that aren't essential. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the person said that Michael, what was open? The arts and crafts store was open.
Oh, there's Joe.
Joe,
yeah.
Shout out to Joe.
How is that essential?
That's not essential at all. I don't think that's essential at all.
I don't know what they could have. Like I can't even think of anything.
Another thing I want to talk about too is just I don't know. I don't really like the way the media is treating Donald Trump right now.
Oh, so yeah, so you're a pro-Trumper.
I'm pro-Trump, but I'm not.
Actually, let me rephrase that. Are you a pro-Trumper, or you just want the media to be fair?
I want the media to be fair and accurate, because I'm seeing a lot of these people speaking to Trump, and they're trying to provoke him into questions that he shouldn't be answering, to try and basically make him look dumb on their news networks, and I don't think that's very fair to be treating him like that.
They're waiting all this time. They're waiting all these times to ask him a question, and they're just trying to like. I forgot. I put a couple of clips on where he just like goes after a reporter on like previous episodes, when like they're just like trying to make him look like a dick, because he's a dick, but he's not like wrong necessarily. He's just
trying to make him look bad, and it's like you're asking this guy questions that, first of all, I think they're rude and they're not even necessary. They don't benefit the situation. And second of all, for a fact he doesn't even want to be answering these questions, So it's like, why are you asking him these questions? And he also, he wanted to instate travel bans a lot earlier than they were recommending, and they called him a racist for it. They called him all these things. But in this situation, I believe that you got to put political correctness aside, because it's just for the safety of the American people,
Yeah, that wasn't even his idea. It was Dr. Fauci, who was the public health guy, was the one that pushed him to close the borders down.
Was it?
But still, the fact that you need to listen to that guy, you need to listen to the guy who's been studying this stuff for his whole life.
Yeah.
And I
No,
think
I mean, well,
he's
you know,
and I said this,
presidents. Yeah. All politicians, they take ideas from all the people around them, and then they go and decide to ultimately do things. You know.
I'm not gonna. I'm probably not gonna vote, but you know, I'm not gonna be wearing a MAGA thing anytime soon. But what I do like about him is that he's being pragmatic about things. He's not
Yeah.
necessarily acting like a Republican. He's just like kind of fucked it. Like he's just, even if they were saying he didn't respond like early enough, but like that was from both sides. It wasn't just him.
Yeah.
But
politics. Honestly, personally, politics it doesn't really play any place in terms of safety for people. You know, and I feel like both sides or whatever, like they want to bring political arguments into safety precautions, and it's really not necessary. You know,
right.
It's like you know, we want people to survive, they want people to live, and they want people to be safe, and it should have anything to do with political influence. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm.
Or social influence or social issues. It shouldn't have nothing to do with that. You know, it's just about keeping us safe, keeping people safe. You know.
I think part of the problem is there's so much distrust from each side, whereas people can't put the blinders up. And like a situation like this, I see what they're doing, and I'm somebody that says that like I don't want too much government intervention, but like it's sometimes with a fucking global pandemic, it's okay.
No, I agree with you, man. You know, I don't want too much intervention from the government either, but in situations like this, and exactly, it's a global pandemic. It's something that's threatening us, you know, as a society, and it's like it shouldn't. It should. The government should have the power to tell people, no, you gotta stay locked down in your house for this many weeks. Because honestly, I'd much rather do that, and I know that we had a great reduction in the spread of this disease than be out there dealing with people, knowing that I could potentially get infected and stuff like that. You know. So it's like
you could potentially infect others.
Exactly. It's a necessary sacrifice, I think, in order to do the right thing, you know? And I could see the government. I think that's the right thing if the government went and did that, you know?
So let me ask you, at the start of March, you were on a cruise.
Yeah.
That was like when this stuff first started happening.
Right, yeah.
But the cruise industry was like under a lot of fire at that time. Did you experience anything? Was there anything corona related that happened while you were on the cruise ship?
After I left it, somebody tested. They sent this something saying somebody tested positive from it. One case, a 2-year-old.
Oh shit!
And but other than that, I mean, I didn't. I feel good. I still feel good. And that was in March 1st. I went. You know.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. It's just that's crazy that somebody on that cruise, and it's weird how just one person could test positive on the cruise because of how this thing spreads and all that shit.
Yeah,
because there's so much we don't know about it still.
Yeah, the cruise line sent everybody that rode that cruise a letter saying that you know, you should be informed that there was somebody that tested positive. Whether or not they tested positive on the cruise, I don't know. You know, or if they got it on the cruise or spread it, they could have been after the fact too. You know. So.
Yeah. Well, no, that's.
But the cruise was a good time. I had a great time. You know.
Oh, so other than that last message, it was just par for the course cruise, chilling out, whatever.
What's that?
Sorry. So other than that one thing that happened that they sent you after that somebody tested positive, was just like any other cruise, par for the course, good time, whatever.
How was the time? How was the time?
Yeah,
it was the time? Is that the question?
It was just like a normal cruise.
It was a good time. Yeah, it was a great time. They didn't too much screening. They basically just asked you if you were in contact with anybody within that time period that came from China or came from another, you know, No, obviously, no, that wasn't the case, you know. But the cruises are a good time, man. I definitely want to do something. I want to go on another one, probably next year sometime. Maybe next March or April or something like that. It's a great way to vacation for sure. I went to the Bahamas. I went to Florida. Friend Vinny and his dad, and Florida and the Bahamas we went to, and it was a good time for sure.
Why? What are you doing to like decompress? Like, because you're not going to work right now because of all this shit going on. And I know you used to play the guitar a lot. I don't know if you're.
Yeah. I just been home playing. Some days I'm playing the guitar. I'm just learning. I try to get better and better. You know, I've been playing since I was 13, and I'm always just trying to get better. I'm on YouTube looking up more difficult stuff to play. You know.
Do you ever record your own sessions?
Yeah. You can on my Facebook. You can hear me recorded actually playing.
Okay.
On my Facebook page.
Do you have any audio clips like that you could like send to me?
Yeah.
Okay, if you send me something, I'll put it on right now so we can get not right now, not like don't send to me right now, but after we get off.
After if you want to. Oh, okay. To listen, like to put it on.
Yeah, I'll throw it in. That should be cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll see if I have something. But yeah, I just been home, just relaxing, man. You know, and just been cleaning up my house, doing stuff like that, keep the house clean, keep the house in check, and that's it. Making sure everybody's good in my house. You know.
You got it. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Just taking care of your people and everything. Do you have like any TV shows been binge watching or anything like that just as well, just to keep the kind of because sometimes the news could be so much sometimes. Like I've been watching like a lot of Entourage again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But just something to just keep the blinders on from all that outside shit. Do you have like anything that you just tune in just to tune out?
Usually, honestly, a lot of TV I just watch is on. I usually just watch. I watch a lot of YouTube. You know? Random stuff. Like I don't know. I just been into. I don't know. Might have to edit this out.
No, that's fine. No, dude, it's fine.
I haven't been really watching much. Anything. I mean, my brother just got the new Resident Evil video game, so I've been watching him play it.
Oh, that's dope. It's appropriate to play right now.
It's a remake. It's a remake of Nemesis, Resident Evil Nemesis.
I don't know. Is it on Xbox?
Yeah, Xbox. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I have Xbox One. I've been play a little Madden. Like my birthday was last week. I just played Madden and like had cake and pizza. So it was a great birthday, and everybody was like, "Oh, it must suck." And I'm like, dude, like what?
Do you prefer living in Texas over living here, or how is it?
Yeah, quality of life wise, you get so much more value for your dollar. You could, not everybody's on top of each other. Like the houses are spread. Like I have an apartment right now. You see the video. Like listeners won't be able to see it, but I got like my girl's hats are all fucking behind me right now, and it's pretty. It's a good value, and I like how everything's like a little bit more spaced out. Like there's no public transportation, which is why I think cases were so much bigger in New York as far as coronavirus goes versus here, because everybody's not on top of each other.
Where you live now, do you live in a suburb or is it like more rural? What type of area do you live in? Is it spread out? Is it real spread out? What type of area?
It's like in the middle. It's like suburban kind of because I'm right outside of Dallas. Dallas is there's Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, like probably the 4 biggest cities here. And there's El Paso all the way to the west. But Dallas is pretty dope. You just drive up to anywhere pretty much and go into places or whatever.
That's awesome. Honestly, sometimes I feel like people live better in other states. if you have a good job, you have a decent paying job, and you're definitely gonna have a nicer property, and the overall cost of living is better. So I think if I had with the right job, I would move. I would definitely move. If I had a good paying career that's gonna get me through it, I would definitely move. I feel sometimes.
Yeah, Staten Island was cool. I'm glad I grew up there and everything, and I'm glad I lived there for a while. But I mean, I was when I went to the military, I got stationed at Fort Hood, which is like an hour north of Austin, and I was like, Texas is pretty dope. And then I came back for a little bit, and then was like, fuck it, coming back. So yeah, it's pretty dope. Anytime you want to come visit, got a great couch. Or find a blow up mattress at some point or some shit.
Maybe if I consider buying a house out there or something.
Yeah, bro. So you get.
Also, I was looking to a lot of other states. A lot of people they make similar incomes in Texas or whatever, Florida, in certain jobs that they make here. So it kind of feels like maybe it's a better quality. Obviously, we live in the world in New York, but who's to say that you can't go to another state and live a good life there too? So
I do, yeah, 100%. And you could always visit New York because flights are always going to be cheaper in and out of New York because there's so many flights that go there all the time, just because it's like the capital of the world, pretty much.
Yep.
I had something written down here. Okay, so you're not a big UFC dude, right?
No.
But I got to mention one thing about the UFC. So because UFC 249, and I think this in general is pretty crazy. They want to have a card, and they haven't had like there's a big fight that got canceled, and they're supposedly gonna be releasing today the full card that they're gonna have. I'm gonna repost that on my Instagram later, but I just want to get that out there because I've been talking about it like every episode, and it's just becoming like, what the fuck is gonna happen with it? It's kind of like with Wrestlemania when they said that they're still gonna have it, but they're gonna do it at like the Performance Center and all that shit. And UFC had something similar, but they need athletic commissions to bless off on it. WWE can kind of like do their own thing. Yeah, man, that's pretty much like everything I had to go over with you. So, is there anything else that you really want to talk about? I think we're at like a good time right now for a Tony Talks episode. Do you have anything you want to promote or anything?
I just want to promote. I hope people continue doing what they need to do to keep people safe. Because it's when I'm reading the news and stuff like that, it's tough to watch and it's tough to see. It's not just older people that are getting sick, right? We've seen a lot of younger people also getting sick. They got to be intubated and all this stuff. And much respect to the first responders. Much respect to people that work in healthcare. One of my good friends is a nurse too.
Yeah,
and they deserve all they deserve all the respect that they're currently getting because they're getting a lot of respect, and they do deserve it. So thank God for that.
I think it's something we learned from all this is you can never have too much medical preparedness.
You're right. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Like if there's something, because if something does happen and you need this shit, you can't just be trying to create it, manufacture it while this stuff's going on. If you keep you're gonna have we spend all this money on the military, let's put some money into fucking having medical reserves for like any scenario because this thing came out of nowhere. So
yeah, another thing too, I think also for the most part I've been seeing, and when I go to the store, most part people are pretty good. Like you don't see too many altercations, but you do also see it in the news, people fighting in the stores and stuff. And there's no time for that right now. It's like that's not going to help the situation. And people got to get along, and people just got to try to get through it. So
yeah, 100%. Otherwise, it's just going to take, and that's part of people hoarding things that they don't need to be hoarding is like, because when this stuff first started happening, people were buying shopping carts worth of toilet paper. Like, what are you're fucking people over?
Yeah, like they really believe in that they're going to be stuck in the house for 10 years. No, that's not what's happening, you know.
Yeah, what are
They
you gonna
got
do?
all that
What is the
toilet-
toilet
that
paper gonna
toilet-
do for you?
Yeah, they have like they bought at Costco. They buy like 6, 7 of them. What is that? 200-300 rolls. Like you're gonna be throwing it out next year.
What's worse than that is when people were buying the Lysol cans and wipes and then reselling it for like $40 a can. To me, that's
Price
like
scout. That's a good
price.
topic. This is actually a good topic. Yeah, that's a really good topic to talk about. But
Those people
that's
are
ridiculous.
scumbags.
That's really ridiculous. And I seen these two dudes. There was an article where they went on like a cross country trip with the U-Haul truck, and they packed their whole truck out with hand sanitizers. They had like I think it was 80,000 hand sanitizers, and they went on Amazon trying to sell them for $80 a hand sanitizer. And then Amazon blocked them. They can't even sell them anymore. You know, it's like
Good.
I mean, you know, that's wrong. That's price gouging. You're selling it for 10,000% more than what it's actually costs. You know, if they went and they only charged another $2, Amazon would still be letting them sell it right now, and they still would have made money. You know, but it's like that's definitely wrong. And you've seen these stores doing it too. These stores shouldn't even be doing that right now. You know.
Yeah, that's a good. If they were gonna sell it, and if you're gonna make like certain percentage profit, so you'd be selling them for like $1. Like you said, you still make money, but because people are just got greedy over it, and wanted to take advantage of people, and now they're fucked because they got canceled on selling it. I did see one supermarket had an idea where they were selling something for the fair market price, but if you bought like a certain amount of it, the price jumped because they were trying to discourage people from buying so many things, which I think is kind of like a decent idea, or just limit the amount people could buy of the product.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing that now too. A lot of stores they're limiting the cost. You know how many you can purchase and stuff like that. But
Yeah, but dude, you know what I've been doing
good
here?
way.
They have. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna put this out there. If you're wondering when they have certain shipments coming in and stuff, because I was actually able to purchase hand sanitizer the other day. A store employee told me when it was coming in, and I went there, Dollar Tree, that morning, and I was able to get it right away. You know, so I guess if you want to ask store employees, they might be able to let you know when they're getting the shipment in, and you'll be able to get to the store early on. You know, get what you want.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If you need something that bad, why not?
Yeah.
They have here, they have HEB, and I've been driving like 45 minutes to because that's like the closest one that I could get a reasonable pickup time with, and they what you do is you park, you text them, and then they wheel everything out that you bought, and they just load it into your trunk for you. And then if there's like substitutions or like omissions, they just go over it, and then that's it. So you don't have to go into this. You don't have to go into the supermarket or anything like that. I mean, it's a decent drive, but I'd rather go there and have the peace of mind of just not worrying about it.
That's pretty. Yeah, no, that's convenient. They're seeing a lot of stores do that now, where they're trying to they're trying to reduce like having to interact with the people and stuff like that. So
and they're having like senior shopping hours too.
yeah, I was in ShopRite before. They had what do you call it? A special lane, a specific lane just for senior citizens, so they could get on their own line. You know.
Yeah, I mean it's just,
but
it's hard to imagine how hard it is for them to get all the stuff they need because of how crazy it is.
Yeah. But it's also good to see people taking those steps because it shows that they're really trying to help the people that need it the most, right?
Yeah, of course. It's the least they could do.
Yeah.
But no, it's good that they're doing it.
But thanks for having me on the
But
show.
yeah, man, absolutely. I think this is a good. I think that was a good way to close it out. I'm glad you're doing well. It was good just to catch up in general and just shoot the shit.
Thank you, man. Yeah, when you come back, we gotta hang out. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just gonna say that when social distancing isn't necessary anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, yo. So Marcello, thanks for coming on. Make sure you give me that audio clip.
Okay, man. All right, thank you.
All right, brother.
All right, take it easy. All right. All right.